But the bigger piece is just massive, unrelenting demand meeting limited supply.
This one looks like it does have a lot of staying power.
I became a fan of crypto, and to me, it's an industry. I view it as an industry, and I'm president. And if we didn't have it, China would.
The Bitcoin price, again, hits a new all-time high as huge trading volume surges into the spot Bitcoin ETFs.
We're seeing companies buying huge amounts of Bitcoin and ETFs purchasing huge amounts of Bitcoin, and there's just not that much Bitcoin to go around. I'll mention in the last 30 days, we've seen Bitcoin ETFs acquire $5.2 billion of Bitcoin.
Actually, this week, just Thursday alone, $1.18 billion of inflows buying Bitcoin on Thursday, marking the largest single-day inflow since November of 2024, meaning for institutional investors, buying Bitcoin yesterday was like buying Bitcoin back in November of 2024. We saw what happened next. Also, total ETF inflows have now topped 51 billion, with Bitcoin accounting for 83%. We are witnessing mass accumulation in real time.
That represents institutional investors making a giant allocation to this space. We see that trend continuing. And with the limited supply of Bitcoin, it's just forcing the price up. I think we're detaching from $100,000, and I think we're going substantially higher from here.
When you say substantially higher, Matt, give me some bogeys to watch.
And realistically, is the Bitcoin price topping out? Or how much farther could we go? You subscribe to Altcoin Daily for an edge investing in crypto. Just one video per day keeps you ahead of the market because the mainstream media won't share this with you. Other crypto channels won't share this with you. Actual data that shows us, based on on-chain metrics, when to buy near the bottoms, as well as when to sell near the tops. Other channels gatekeep this information. Altcoin Daily shares with you. So I would appreciate a like and a subscribe. Join this team. We'll grow together because the mainstream media is telling us this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think once we break the gravity of around $100,000, where we've been trading in and out of for the last 6 months, I think it's sort of anyone's guess where we go. Here at Bitwise, we expect Bitcoin to top $200,000 by the end of the year, which I know sounds like a very large number, but the flows we're seeing from institutional investors and corporations are really significant. They're accelerating, not slowing down, and I think they're going to force that price substantially higher.
The first on-chain chart I want to share with you, and we have a few others. The important thing is to not base your trades on any one chart, but if 2 or 3 or 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 of these charts start to line up, then we can say, okay. So first one, Bitcoin's MVRV Z-score. Long-term subscribers of this channel have seen this for years now. It's basically great for understanding when the Bitcoin price is overvalued or undervalued. And notice last cycle, we just touched the overvalued range and we didn't get maybe the blow-off tops we've seen in other cycles. So it doesn't have to touch these metrics, but it does give us perspective and also helps to understand direction. The MVRV Z-score is a Bitcoin chart that uses blockchain analysis, basically looking on-chain, because with stocks, investing in stocks, we can't really see in the back end who's holding, what's the distribution like. With Bitcoin and with blockchain, it's a public blockchain, so all this data is available to anybody. And with this, we can identify periods where Bitcoin is extremely over or undervalued relative to its fair value. Basically, this compares Bitcoin's market cap, which is this Bitcoin's price essentially, which is that black line we see in the background, very recognizable, with Bitcoin's realized cap, that's the blue line. Realized market cap reads the Bitcoin blockchain a little differently. A lot of people say it's a more accurate way to represent the value of the network. Bitcoin's realized price is the value of all the Bitcoins at the price they were last transacted on-chain. Of course, divided by the number of Bitcoins in circulation. Why it's valued like this, meaning why are we judging the Bitcoin's price based on the last time they were transacted on-chain? Because this assumes the only reason you would move Bitcoin is if you were buying Bitcoin, buying or selling. If you're not directly getting in or out of the asset, Bitcoin's use case is just holding. So unlike the current market price, which we all recognize, which tells us the price of Bitcoin right now. Realized price tells us the average purchase price of all Bitcoins in circulation. And then what the Bitcoin MVRV Z-score does is it takes the market value, the regular Bitcoin price or market cap that we all know, compares it to the realized value, which we just talked about, and then also the Z-score, which is just a standard deviation test that pulls out the extremes in the data between market value and realized value. Click the like button right now if you're already feel you got value in today's video. I'd appreciate it. But how can this be used? Well, the MVRVZ score has historically been very effective in identifying periods where market value is moving unusually high above realized value or unusually low. Where are we today? Well, if we look at the Z-score, which is right now in the orange, we're at around a 2.65. Anything above a 7, that's the time you usually want to be scaling out. Anything, closer to 0, that's when you want to get in heavily. So we're not at the beginning of this bull run. We're certainly not at the end. And of course, we do have other metrics to look at, and we're going to compare all of them. But my takeaway for this one specifically, as we build more into this, is we're not seeing any topping signals that we have historically spotted successfully in the past. Again, just to be ultra safe, maybe you could say, hey, I'm kind of seeing diminishing returns. As Bitcoin becomes more mature, the asset gets less volatile, so we may see less of these high extremes and low extremes. But even if we say, okay, diminishing returns, maybe we just get to 5.8 this cycle, we're not close. We're not seeing topping signals with this data yet. Even if we have a correction from here, maybe Bitcoin corrects back to $102,000 next week, the higher low would tell us that the bullish uptrend is not broken. And how I really handle this in terms of buying and selling in bull and bear markets, you're never going to catch the exact bottoms, just like you're never going to sell at the exact tops. But if your goal, whenever your goal is to take profits, I would start to scale out around 5, maybe 5.5. That's your safety. That's you taking the principal off the table. If it doesn't go any higher, at least you took profits there. And then scale out more if we go up more. So if it gets to 6 or maybe 6.5, let's say you took 20% off the table in this first bout, then you might go 25%. If it gets into 7, 7.8, maybe you go from what you still have 50% of whatever you have left. And if it just goes right up there at 10, that's when you scale all the way out. These markets are cyclical. There is an ebb and a flow. And by the way, I buy in the same strategy that I sell, dollar cost average in around the bottom, just like you DCA out near the tops. Meaning on our way down, we don't know how far the Bitcoin price in the next bear market, whenever that is, how far down will it go? We have no clue. So when this metric starts to get out of whack, right, it's just showing overvalued and undervalued, relatively speaking, as we get maybe to, when it hits 2, that's when I buy more. I think, oh, this could be the very minimum of the bear market. Maybe we're only going to a 2 this cycle. That's my safety. I buy. As we go lower, put in a little more, put in a lot more, put in a lot more. About every 3 to 4 weeks, let's check back on these metrics. Now we'll update you. I also really like to use these metrics on the Into the Cryptoverse platform. There's a link down below, an affiliate link, if anybody wants access to these charts. I use them, but the one I want to show you today will go into crypto, we'll go into charts, and we'll go down to risk. Historical risk levels, price coded by color risk. Yes, I like this. Let's start with historical risk levels. Right now we're on Solana. We'll take this to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the market mover, or any altcoin you want to use these on, they're here. Moving average, let's set a 7-day moving average just to smooth these out. It did a little. And what this chart tells us, this chart shows the risk metric for Bitcoin, and you can use it for other altcoins. The purpose of the risk metrics are not to predict price bottoms nor price tops, but rather to identify areas that should be attractive buying or selling points in the long term. And how this is used? Well, it's very simple. This chart could be used for dynamic dollar cost averaging. When risk levels are below 0.5, and as you get closer to 0, you're going to choose to increase your buys. That way you take emotion out of it. And same with selling. Take the hype, the emotion out of it, just like take the fear out of it down here, and have structure, have a plan. How I like to use this is anything below 0.4 to me, clear buying opportunity, especially the lower we go, 0.4, that's the more you want to, for me, put money in. And anything above 0.6 is when you want to start to think about selling. So Bitcoin just hit $118,000 per coin. Yes, there will be pullbacks, but we are not overvalued by any means. If this hits 0.7 again, maybe price will be 140, 150, maybe DCA out a little bit, take the principal off the table. When it hits 0.8 or 0.9, that's when you want to take profits. We've seen this over and over and over again. And especially as these two metrics, if these two metrics and more, which we'll revisit on Altcoin Daily in the coming weeks, as they start to align, that really tells a story. Again, link down below if you want to take advantage. I will be making a top altcoin video. So today was just more about Bitcoin. I will be going over the top altcoins that are actually implementing today. And of course, if you're a crypto trader, anybody that deposits money and wants an instant $20 bonus. So if you put in 100, you get a $20 bonus. If you put in 500, you get a $100 bonus. Plus lower fees with VIP2 and up to $30,000 in incentives, welcome bonus, limited time, use code Altcoin, link down below with exchange partner WeX. And of course, a top altcoin video coming in the coming days. Like always, see you tomorrow.